Have you ever felt uneasy around someone who's supposed to be on your side? Maybe their words sound supportive, but their actions tell a different story. Perhaps you've even caught yourself wondering, are they really my friend, or is there something more going on here? The truth is, not everyone who smiles at you wants the best for you. Some people hide their true intentions behind kindness and charm, secretly working against you while pretending to be an ally. The idea that someone close to you could be an enemy is hard to accept, but recognizing the signs is the first step toward protecting your peace and well-being. In this video, we'll uncover the 7 clear signs that someone in your life might not have your best interests at heart. These behaviors are often subtle, but once you know what to look for, you'll see the truth behind their mask. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you'll not only know how to spot these hidden enemies, but you'll also have the tools to handle them with confidence and protect your energy. If you seek the universe protection, comment, "I seek God's protection." Let's dive in and expose the signs you can't afford to ignore. Sign 1. They subtly celebrate your failures. A particularly toxic sign that someone in your life might be an enemy is when they seem to enjoy your failures. While true friends and supporters feel your pain and want to help when you stumble, fake allies secretly take pleasure in your struggles. They might not openly laugh or cheer when things go wrong, but their subtle reactions and comments reveal their true feelings. For example, imagine you didn't get a promotion you were hoping for, and you confide in a friend. Instead of comforting you or offering words of encouragement, they say things like, "Well, maybe you weren't ready for it anyway," or "I guess they thought someone else was a better fit." Their words might sound neutral, but the tone and timing make it clear they're not upset about your loss. Another way this behavior shows up is through fake sympathy. They might say things like, "Oh no, that's terrible," but their smile or lack of genuine concern tells a different story. Sometimes they might even make sarcastic comments disguised as jokes like, "Wow, I guess you can't win them all." These remarks, while subtle, leave you feeling worse about the situation. Why do they celebrate your failures? Often, it's because your struggles make them feel better about themselves. Seeing you fail temporarily boosts their self-esteem because it reinforces their belief that they're superior or more capable. It's a reflection of their insecurities, not your worth. The harm in this behavior is that it erodes trust and support. When someone close to you secretly takes pleasure in your failures, it can leave you feeling isolated and hesitant to share your struggles. You might start wondering who's truly in your corner and who's waiting for you to fall. How can you recognize this sign? Pay attention to how they react when things go wrong. Do they seem genuinely concerned, or do they make subtle comments that add to your frustration? Do they offer help and encouragement, or do they use the opportunity to point out your shortcomings? Here's how to deal with this people. Just distance yourself emotionally. If someone consistently reacts this way, limit how much you share with them, especially about your struggles. Focus on your growth. Don't let their behavior hold you back. Use failures as stepping stones to improve and remind yourself that their reaction says more about them than it does about you. 2. They manipulate situations to make you look bad. Another toxic sign that someone in your life might be an enemy is their tendency to manipulate situations to put you in a negative light. These individuals are skilled at twisting events, conversations, or outcomes to make themselves look better while casting doubt on you. They might act innocent, but their actions are intentional and calculated. For example, imagine you're working on a group project and one of your teammates conveniently forgets to complete their part, leaving you to scramble at the last minute. When the project is presented, they subtly shift the blame onto you, saying, "I think there was some miscommunication about who was responsible for that section." Their goal is to avoid accountability while making you appear disorganized or unreliable. In personal relationships, this behavior might look like a friend or family member sharing a story in a way that paints you as the bad guy. For instance, they might tell others, "I tried to help them, but they didn't appreciate it," conveniently leaving out the part where their help was unsolicited or manipulative. These half-truths create a false narrative that damages your reputation while allowing them to maintain their image as the victim or hero. People who manipulate situations often do so to gain sympathy, control, or a sense of superiority. By making you look bad, they position themselves as the better person, whether in terms of competence, morality, or likability. The harm in this behavior is that it creates distrust and confusion. You might start questioning your own actions or wondering if you're to blame for the way things turned out. Over time, this manipulation can erode your confidence and make you feel powerless in the relationship. How can you spot someone who manipulates situations to make you look bad? Look for patterns where they consistently twist events to their advantage. Do they frequently make excuses or blame others for their mistakes? Do they tell stories that put you in a negative light while making themselves look good? If someone repeatedly manipulates situations to harm you, it's a sign they don't value your trust or well-being. Consider distancing yourself to protect your peace. 3. They gossip about you or spread rumors. One of the most damaging signs that someone in your life might be an enemy is their tendency to gossip about you or spread rumors. True friends and allies protect your reputation and hold your trust sacred. However, fake allies or enemies disguised as friends will take your personal information, twist it, and share it with others in ways that harm you. Gossiping doesn't always look obvious. It might start with innocent-sounding statements like, "I'm just worried about them," or "I don't want to say too much, but..." These phrases often mask their real intention, spreading negative or exaggerated stories about you to others. They might claim to be concerned about your well-being while simultaneously damaging how others perceive you. Imagine you confide in a friend about a mistake you made at work, trusting them to keep it private. The next day, you hear that several co-workers know about it and are discussing it in whispers. When you confront your so-called friend, they might say, "I didn't mean any harm. I just thought others should know in case it becomes a problem." This excuse not only deflects blame, but also reveals their willingness to harm you for their own benefit. Another form of gossip is when they share exaggerated or false information to tarnish your image. For example, they might say, "I heard they're struggling to keep up with their responsibilities," even if it's not true. Their goal is often to make themselves look better by making you look worse. Why do people gossip? It often stems from insecurity, jealousy, or a desire to control how others view you. By spreading rumors or sharing your private information, they feel a sense of power. They enjoy being at the center of attention, even if it's at your expense. The harm caused by gossip is deep and lasting. It can damage your reputation, erode trust within your social or professional circles, and leave you feeling betrayed and isolated. Over time, this behavior can chip away at your confidence and make you hesitant to open up to anyone. How can you spot someone who gossips about you? Pay attention to how they talk about others. If they're quick to share private or negative details about mutual friends, chances are they're doing the same to you when you're not around. Also, notice how often private information you've shared with them somehow becomes public knowledge. Distance yourself if needed. If they continue to gossip despite your efforts, it's a sign they don't value your trust. In this case, it's best to reduce or end your interactions with them. They pretend to be supportive, but sabotage you. One of the most deceptive signs that someone in your life might be an enemy is when they pretend to support you but secretly work against you. On the surface, they act as though they're rooting for you and want to see you succeed. They may offer advice, lend a helping hand, or cheer you on when you're pursuing something important. However, their actions often contradict their words, and instead of helping you progress, they find subtle ways to hinder your efforts. Imagine sharing an exciting goal with someone, like starting a new business or pursuing a personal passion. This person might respond with, "That's amazing, you'll be great at it," but then subtly plant doubts or give advice that leads you in the wrong direction. They might say things like, "Are you sure this is the right time for something like that? It sounds like a big risk." While their comments might seem harmless or even caring, their intention is to create uncertainty and discourage you from moving forward. Another example is when they offer to help with something important, but fail to follow through. Perhaps they promise to introduce you to someone who could assist with your project, or agree to help you prepare for a critical event. At the last minute, they forget, back out, or provide help that's ineffective, leaving you to scramble and fix things on your own. Their actions sabotage your progress while allowing them to maintain the image of being supportive. Why do they do this? Often it's because they feel threatened by your potential success. Your growth might highlight their own insecurities or make them feel like they're being left behind. By sabotaging your efforts, they maintain a sense of control and ensure that you don't surpass them. The harm in this behavior is that it creates confusion and self-doubt. You might start questioning whether you're capable or whether your goals are realistic. Over time, this dynamic can undermine your confidence and keep you from pursuing the things that matter most to you. To handle someone who pretends to support you but secretly sabotages your efforts, focus on relying less on their involvement. Take charge of your own plans and progress, ensuring that your success doesn't depend on their help or validation. 5. They secretly undermine you. One of the clearest signs that someone in your life might be an enemy is when they subtly try to pull you down. They may not do it in a loud or obvious way. Instead, they work behind the scenes, planting seeds of doubt or sabotaging your progress in quiet ways. Their actions often seem small or harmless on the surface, but over time they can have a big impact on your confidence and success. Imagine this. You're excited about a new project at work. You've put in a lot of effort and you're proud of what you've accomplished. But then a coworker who you thought was supportive makes a helpful comment like, "That's great, but are you sure the boss will like it?" Or, "I think your ideas are good, but they might not work as well as you think." At first you might brush it off as innocent feedback, but then you notice a pattern. Every time you share something important, they say or do something that makes you second-guess yourself. This is how undermining works. It's sneaky. The person might smile and act friendly while planting doubt in your mind. They might say things like, "I'm just trying to help," or "I want to make sure you don't get disappointed." But their real goal is to make you question your abilities or lose confidence in what you're doing. Another way people undermine you is by sharing your ideas or accomplishments as if they're their own. For example, you might come up with a great suggestion in a group setting, and later this person brings it up as if it was their idea. They take credit for your work, leaving you feeling invisible or unappreciated. Sometimes the person might act as though they're supporting you while quietly creating obstacles. For instance, if you're planning an event, they might accidentally forget to pass along important information or fail to complete tasks they promised to handle. When things go wrong, they act surprised and say, "I didn't mean to cause any problems," but their actions consistently make your life harder. Why do people do this? Often it's because they feel insecure or jealous. Your success makes them feel threatened, so they try to bring you down to their level. By making you doubt yourself or sabotaging your progress, they feel a sense of control or superiority. The harm in being undermined is that it chips away at your confidence and trust. You might start questioning your own instincts, wondering if you're really as capable as you thought. Over time, this can make you feel stuck, anxious, or unsure about your abilities. How can you spot someone who's undermining you? Pay attention to patterns. If a person consistently makes you feel doubtful or frustrated after interacting with them, it's a red flag. Ask yourself, do they often make subtle negative comments about my ideas or efforts? Do they take credit for my work? Do they seem to create unnecessary obstacles in my path? If you suspect someone is undermining you, it's important to protect yourself. Limit how much personal information or plans you share with them. The less they know, the less they can interfere. Surround yourself with supportive people. Build relationships with those who genuinely want to see you succeed. Their encouragement can help counteract the negativity from someone trying to bring you down. 6. They're overly competitive. Another sign that someone in your life might secretly be an enemy is their constant need to compete with you. Healthy competition can be motivating and fun, but when it becomes excessive, it's a red flag. Overly competitive people aren't trying to grow or succeed alongside you. They're trying to prove they're better than you, often at your expense. At first, their competitiveness might seem harmless. They might joke about being better at something or playfully try to outdo you, but as time goes on, you notice that it's not just occasional, it's every time. Whether it's work, friendships, or even personal accomplishments, they always try to one-up you. If you get a promotion, they brag about how their job offers more perks. If you share a personal win, they respond with an even bigger one of their own. Imagine you're excited about running a 5K race for the first time, and you share the news with a friend. Instead of celebrating with you, they immediately start talking about how they've run longer races, or how they could easily beat your time. This kind of behavior isn't supportive. It's dismissive. Instead of lifting you up, they're focused on overshadowing your achievements. Overly competitive people often see relationships as a zero-sum game. In their mind, your success diminishes theirs, so they feel the need to constantly outperform you. This mindset leads to unnecessary tension and makes you feel like you can't fully share your accomplishments without being compared or belittled. Another example is in the workplace. Let's say you collaborate with a coworker who always tries to take the spotlight, even on projects where you've contributed equally or more. During meetings, they might dominate the conversation, emphasizing their role while downplaying yours. If you get recognition, they might say things like, "I'm glad we both worked so hard on that," even if they didn't contribute as much. Why do they act this way? Often, it's rooted in insecurity or jealousy. They might feel threatened by your abilities or accomplishments, so they try to prove they're superior. Instead of focusing on their own growth, they're fixated on outshining you. The harm in dealing with overly competitive people is that it creates an environment of constant comparison and pressure. You might start questioning whether you're doing enough or feeling the need to prove yourself, even when you don't need to. Over time, this dynamic can drain your energy and confidence. How can you spot this people? Look for patterns. Do they often turn your successes into an opportunity to brag about themselves? Do they seem more focused on outdoing you than celebrating with you? Do they bring up their own achievements whenever you share yours? To handle overly competitive people, don't play their game. Resist the urge to compete back. Respond to their comments with neutrality like, "That's great for you," instead of trying to one-up them in return. Limit what you share. If you notice they're always trying to overshadow your achievements, be selective about what you tell them. Share your victories with people who genuinely celebrate with you. 7. They're never genuinely happy for your success. One of the clearest signs that someone in your life might be an enemy is their inability to truly celebrate your successes. While genuine friends and loved ones share your joy and excitement, hidden enemies struggle to mask their envy or resentment. They may offer a forced smile or lukewarm congratulations, but their lack of enthusiasm reveals their true feelings. Imagine getting a promotion at work or achieving a long-awaited goal. You excitedly share the news with someone you trust, expecting them to celebrate with you. Instead, they respond with something dismissive like, "That's great, but isn't that what you were supposed to do?" Or, "Good for you, I guess, but don't get too comfortable." Their reaction might seem neutral or even polite on the surface, but it leaves you feeling deflated and unsupported. Sometimes they'll try to downplay your success by shifting the focus back to themselves. For example, if you share that you've been accepted into a prestigious program, they might immediately talk about their own past accomplishments or subtly compare your achievement to theirs. They might say, "That's cool, but when I did something similar, it was much harder." This response isn't about celebrating you, it's about protecting their ego. Another way they show this behavior is by finding flaws in your success. Instead of congratulating you, they might point out potential problems or minimize your accomplishment. For instance, they might say, "That's nice, but I heard that company isn't as great as everyone thinks." Or, "Well, let's see if you can keep it up." These comments might seem like harmless skepticism, but they're rooted in jealousy or a desire to diminish your achievement. Why do they act this way? Their inability to celebrate your success often stems from insecurity or envy. Your accomplishments might highlight areas in their own life where they feel inadequate or unfulfilled. Instead of using your success as motivation, they see it as a threat, making it hard for them to genuinely feel happy for you. The harm in this behavior is that it can make you question your own worth or feel isolated during moments that should be joyful. Instead of basking in your success, you might find yourself defending it or trying to justify your happiness to someone who should be supporting you. To handle someone who is never genuinely happy for your success, focus on sharing your achievements with people who truly value and celebrate you. Surround yourself with individuals who uplift and encourage you, and limit how much personal information you share with those who don't. Recognizing the hidden enemies in your life isn't about creating drama or cutting people off. It's about protecting your peace and surrounding yourself with those who genuinely support you. Life is too precious to waste on toxic relationships that drain your energy and dim your light. Remember, you deserve to be celebrated, not sabotaged. If this video resonated with you, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for more empowering content, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's build a community of awareness and positivity together. See you